Alright, so it is that time again. It is time to go through the top 16. And before I start, I do want to shout out David Foshbinder and as well as Louis Benecourt from the Facebook group, and as well as the DBS group, because they all gave updates throughout the day for Gen Con. It is one of those events that everybody wants to know about, especially since this is probably the first big event, I would say, since the set dropped, and we got a lot of good information from it. And I would love to go through it. And not to mention that I was making all of the decks from the manual list that was posted on the Facebook group, but then realized that it was already posted. So my life is pain. So we did have 71 participants going right into it. Also, let me know what you think about this top 16. We had 10 diverse leaders, like 10 different leaders for the event itself, and as well as saw a lot of good interesting texts and a lot of different things from set 7 that boosted some of these decks. Also, subscribe if you're new, like, dislike, all that other stuff. If we look right into the 71 participants, the top cut for top 16, again, are 10 different leaders. Toa being at 4, no surprise there. It's actually still a really good pick. She only got stronger from all of the new black cards that came out. There weren't very many, but like the Blocker Revenge Toa, and as well as a couple others, like the Unexpected Turn, I do believe, is a really good control card that fits perfectly in Toa. Then we got Skillless Goku at 2, no surprise there. Kind of a surprise here, but not really at the same time. After making that video with Joel, 2 CABBAS in the top cut makes a lot of sense. It's a good deck, and it's one of those decks that I don't think a lot of people are prepared for. So I'm glad that it did top, and we got some showing for it. The one announcer, I think Scott Dashy was the only announcer there. Still a good deck. I mean, draws a lot and has pretty good win cons. The only thing that's really a downside for it is that it's restricted, and I don't like restricted decks. But that's just me. Pan, I think this is the red-green one, probably my favorite, the most favorite deck out of all the ones that I've seen already. I didn't see all of them, but this one is probably my favorite because it's just cool looking, and I think it functions well, and I hope to build my own version of it. And then we had the Gogeta that was in the finals, so if you didn't know, Toa and Gogeta was in the finals. Toa did take it, so there you go. And then we had a blue-red Hurrigan. We'll take a look at that. I think this is Scuffle Time Dende, which is cool. Shout out to Sandy. And then Eva unleashes the starter deck Broly. Nothing really changed from there, but it's still a good deck for a person who can pilot it. There's just a lot of answers for it now. And then Shenron, I think Anthony Hernandez played it. So let's go through them right now. So no particular order. I'm going to go ahead and start with Max Canton's Gen Con top 16. Okay, this one's Toa. Again, no surprise that Toa did end up having some good representation, not only in the top cut, but also probably overall in the whole event. It's kind of a bummer that Mr. Scott Slater wasn't able to get all the information, but I mean, it still seems like a really well-run event. I wasn't there, so I can't really say. But looking at this deck again, some good stuff. Like when we take a look at the regular deck for Toa, most of this stuff is already in there, right? So we have obviously the 4 Miras, so that way you can search them out and as well as play them turn 1 and then turn 4 when you do want to awaken. And then we have the 4 time regulators. All this stuff is pretty normal. And of course the 4-to-2 ratio for time ruler and as well as Umbriel. Very annoying that, the Awakened side can just kind of take anything with these 2 cards. Anything 3 or less, that is. And of course, Banisher Fu. Surprising that it's not at 4, because this is like a really good removal tool, but not too bad. 4 Power Burst, of course. The 1 Evasive Power Mira for a little bit more aggro, I'm guessing. And then the new blocker, you draw 1, and now it's a free blocker. Pretty much that's it as far as the new cards, right? There's only a single 4-star ball, which I don't understand why he did that. I'm taking a look around. I don't really see why. But no other new cards, so not much to say about it. It's still a good deck. I don't know what to tell you. I don't remember who was in the finals. If someone could put that in the comments below, that'd be great. I just don't see it, so my bad. I'm sure I'll take a look at it in a second. So this one is a blue-yellow deck. Nothing too visually different already from what I can see. This is sort of like a set 6 deck with objection, getting right into the Gogetas, and maybe even not all costs, who knows, but It does focus on that Gogeta, and it shows, you know, Mucha still pretty damn good, simply because of the new Kaioken, and of course all the new big boys like the Dark Banisher Fu, and we're probably going to see the Champa. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have 2 Awakening Pans, because it doesn't look like he has any kind of awakening outside of Power Burst, which is only slightly concerning. I'm really taking a look. I really don't see any awakening or anything like that. Only 3 Power Bursts is interesting as well. Only 1 Training Buddy Krillin, probably because his understanding is that, or if I was him, it's probably because, you know, there's not much. There's the representation for skillless is going to go down because of the new set 6, and as well as the representation of Toa. So focusing on Gogeta makes sense. I can kind of see that. 1 at all costs, 2 Flying Nimbus, 1 more Mutaito, 1 Dende. Vegeta making an entrance. So this one is the counter. I do believe that is kind of a direct counter for Janemba. So that's a cool thing that you can get back from Power Burst, even though he's not playing a 4th one. Maybe just making room for objection, I guess. And no new Vegeta either. But I mean, you do have to be careful with the blue count in the deck, so that way you can actually have 2 blue when you actually need it. So that makes sense. And then Tien, Demigra, Fu, Shrouded in Mystery, or Few Shrouded in Mystery. So makes sense with the objection and to end games, so that way you can kind of direct swap with Dark Banisher depending on the actual matchup. I would imagine that he does objection into Gogeta, and then the next turn he plays Dark Banisher, because he's gonna have that 10 in the drop as is, with the non-Roshi super combo. Cool list, pretty standard, nothing crazy. All right, Scott Dashi. I never play announcer, but if you were gonna play announcer, I'd imagine that this is the man to talk to. So a lot of cool stuff. 2 planet, most likely for that the Kid Goku in any kind of small sort of little boy matchups. I've noticed that when playing the Krillin, the 1-drop Krillin for an anniversary box that I'm working on for the Clash Kid Goku, or Clash Goku that I played on the stream 2 days ago, one day ago, one of those, it can easily be killed, and since it doesn't have barrier, it just kind of sits there. So you're gonna have to play him and then awaken, and then have one of the Gokus in hand, so that way if they do remove it the next turn or the following turn, or the same turn or the following turn, then you can just go ahead and play the Goku, because he's just a vulnerable boy. He's a little boy trying not to die. So we have Heroic Duo Videl. I think pretty much every single card in this deck really does draw him something, or is very purposeful. Bobbity is really good because of this combo here, if you didn't know. I'm sure you know already. Dende will draw you a card and get you the pieces that you need, whether it's Test of Strength or Mutaito. And we have 3 Power Burst, 2 Objection. I wonder how that played out for him. Plenty of blue and plenty of things to charge, but especially in the announcer deck, you don't really need any specified color. And then we have 2 of the Dabura. Those are very annoying against Kid Goku. One Kai, so no Kais and anything else. I'd imagine that these guys are the main attackers outside of Test of Strength, Boo, and as well as the Wincon here. But as far as attackers, if you don't see Bobbity, you're going to be playing these, and if you need an additional attacker, then that free King Piccolo in turn 4 is going to be pretty good. And then Begrudging Respect Piccolo, probably really good against the Shenron matchup. If you just pay 2 and the objection turn 2, then you just snipe an energy and you're back on the same playing field, basically. I know that him and Hernandez, who was playing Shenron Gogeta, these 5 cards right here, probably the Mutaito as well, playing at 4 is going to be pretty good against that. Mutaito only does so much as far as just playing him in rest mode, and then hopefully gain back your hand advantage, and then be okay from there. But oh well, I mean, technically he has 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 7, 10 negates in the deck. So I mean, not too bad, I guess. And then signing out the World Tournament Arena. That's interesting, I guess, just so he can have more aggro. That's my guess here. Again, you can kind of tell I don't play announcer, but this guy drawing him for free, this guy attacking with him is pretty good. And then these guys to end the game with triple strike, can't KO. pretty good. All right, so this one is the top 16 pan deck that I was talking about before. This is red green. I do believe this is by another channel. I'll put it in the description. If I know there's a deck profile out there, I'm not gonna do this deck justice or talk about it or talk out my butt about it. So definitely go check that out instead if it is in the description. And if you are an author or the player or whoever of the deck, please put it in the description below so that way I'm not butchering your deck. So Pan did really well, right? Back-to-back events, both the invite and the open in Pasadena, and it was tough. Like this has 71 people, but there are really good people in this tournament, and I think it shows that if you do pick up a deck like Pan and you take advantage of the current meta, which again, there's no minus Killy Zone, and there's only one Cobaless, and despite of all of the counterplay cards, you kind of have to take this deck in a different direction outside of Zeno if you need to. And one of the things to kind of note is that it does still have all of the mostly the good cards that Pan plays, but now it does have Familiar Bonds. And it does have this combo here with the Gogeta combo, or the arrival sort of pop a 5 or less, 4 or less, and draw a card on their turn. And of course the secrets, and of course after image and the super combos. But what I do like about this deck, not only because it is Pan, is because of the Dimension Support Trunks into Goku into Piccolo. And if you didn't know, with this, what happens here is that as soon as you pay 1 for Dimension Support Trunks, you then get a Son Goku, the 15k cost Son Goku, and since this is vanilla, of course you just play it for free, or you play it from Trunks. And then because of the turn player autos, this auto goes first, and you can choose Pan's auto if you didn't play anything else on this Goku, in which now it's a 20k critical attacker, and now this guy is for free because his permanent says if you have a green Son Goku. So this is the reason why you don't see the GT Son Goku out or in this deck with 20,000 power in your battle area, and this is not in your battle area. You can play it from your hand without paying its energy cost, so it's for free. And then once per turn, you get to choose one of the Son Goku cards in your battle area, so the one that you just played, and then you can either KO something with 2 or less, ignoring barrier, and then they choose 2 cards from their hand and drop in the area, so this is pretty cool. And then you choose up to 1 of your battle card or opponent's battle cards and KO it if you didn't choose the other option. When my thing is, yes, I can see the value for Familiar Bond, especially since this is a green-red deck, in which this only needs 1 red, which is just busted in itself. And then you play out a Surge of Energy, Awaken, and then Chain Attack. I mean, that's fine and all, but I don't know if this has enough value, even though this target, and this target is really good. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, he topped with it, and it looks like it did well, so I can't really say too much. 2 is all you got, with 4 after image, 1 digging deep makes sense, and then 2 Vegeta the Cruel. I think this should be in the main, honestly. Like, if you're gonna charge one of these guys, which you only have 1, so it makes sense. You have to pay 3 otherwise. I mean, that's all I can really say. I think this is a really good card, especially in Pan. But 4 Haru makes sense with no Cobaless, and if you have 2 open energy, or if they have 2 open energy, don't play it. That's simple as that. And then 1 or 3 TN, which makes sense because he's just a 1 cost free draw. Overall, pretty sweet deck. I really do like it. And I didn't even mention that Burst Attack is another Familiar Bonds target. So after a Zeno and then Familiar Bonds into Burst Attack makes sense. But again, you're warping with this guy and devoting this much. I don't know. I'm sure in the deck profile he'll talk about it. Anyway, so this one is the, I think, finals deck, right? So a lot of people, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a good amount of people I wanted to know about this deck, and it's one of the decks that I was thinking of. I'm not gonna say anything. Obviously, I haven't taken the time to make any videos lately, but this makes sense, a lot of sense. Not only because you get to ramp for with Veku, which is kind of annoying because if you're going against Toa, and if they're just not going to attack, and they're just going to drop your hand, which this deck is kind of susceptible to it, because you're already negging 2 to play this guy and tapping out on turn 3. And then they drop your cards as much as possible, and then, or your hand as much as possible, and then if they don't attack, they awaken, and they do attack, they take off barrier, or take off blocker, that is, and then now you can't block, and then you have to kind of take whatever they give you, whether it's a critical mirror or whatever it may be. So I mean, it's kind of a tough matchup. I think he does side in the chain attack Trunks, which, I mean, the Zeno for chain attack Trunks, which makes sense, but I mean, that's just me. The Kefla, I mean, this looks cool. You know, it makes sense, and not much to really say about it. You can kind of see and understand what the win-con is, and with the Gogeta leader, as soon as you do awaken, you do draw quite a lot. He does have a more blue side in this side for more defense, and as well as the matchup for seeing hit in the side instead of the main is interesting, and as well as Platinum 2. But the Fu Dark Banisher, a few Dark Banisher, along with the Kaioken, might be interesting as far as win cons. But I mean, if you take away most of this red stuff, it's a mostly regular blue Gogeta deck, but it's still cool. Again, if you didn't know, chain attack into Babidi when you have 6 energy, which is why majority of it is 6 red energy, or red energy, so you need 6 red energy. Majority of the deck is red. You play out the Deborah to snipe 2 cards from their hand, and then you play out this guy, and if you keep your life at least at 4, you can probably play 2 of these from the deck, and then take a life from this guy, give him 25,000, 50 critical, or what am I doing? 50,000, and then take another life on the other side, take a card, etc., etc. So that way, if you're playing out 2 of these, or if you do chain attack into another Babidi, and then chain attack into another Babidi, or Babidi into a chain attack into another Babidi from your hand, you can play out this guy, another Babidi, and then snipe 2 cards, etc., etc. Or do a Kefla. I mean, Kefla is always a good choice. If you didn't see my live stream yesterday playing Prison Frieza, although it doesn't need work, it does work when it does want to. And it's a very interesting deck, at least very interesting combo. I'm rambling now. Let's move on. All right, another blue-yellow from Tyler Rice. This one's slightly different. 4-4-star balls as well. And yeah, Mutaito. This one with Sorbet and Krillin. Got those Joey Palladino vibes out here with the 2 source of power Goku from additional awakening and additional aggression. The Sensu Bean into awaken into Supreme Kai of Time, or Supreme Kai East Kai to double strike is always so good. And then Banisher, Masan. I mean, a lot of standard stuff. Another Mutaito, 2 Nimbus, 2 of the Zarbon. Makes sense because you're playing yellow, and you get to restand your Goku. So cool. Eon Hill with the blue-red Hirudegan. A pretty standard blue-haired Hirudegan. So this one has the All Too Easy, and as well as the Year Wide Open. There's not much to say about this. Like, if you look a couple of minutes ago, Blue Red Hirudegan was topping everything, and now because chain attack is still pretty good, which again you have to be real careful with Year Wide Open, and as well as the other counter plays that really disrupt the chain attack into Zeno play. That's all I can really say about it. But I mean, everything else looks pretty standard. Like the Foreseeing Hit, the Platinum 2, the CABBAS and Trunks, and now the Dimension Leaper Toa, the Revenge Blocker that you pay 2 into Warp, and as well as pay 2. But overall, very cool. Very glad that this has some showing. Shout out to Young Bad Man. All right, shout out to Sandy. This is some of that goodness. So cool. I mean, it's Scuffle time. What do you want me to say? Like, I mean, it had that nice little hype, and then No Escape has been around, and then, you know, like the new Kai has been around, which you can tell outside of the Toa decks, there wasn't any Kai being cited in, like the Kai being the Time Disruptor Kai that prevents anything 2 or less from attacking on both ends. So, I mean, if you're not running that, if you're not running Striving, which I think Anthony was, I mean, there's not really too much to talk about. Plus, we have a Borgos in every color, which none of these decks are playing. By the way, none of these decks are actually playing. So I mean, I think if you really consider like what deck should I play, you have an option of playing something good, playing something that you're really used to, or playing something off the wall that people aren't expecting. And I think that is exactly what this is basically. And I'm glad to see it. I like Scuffle Time. It's cool. And I'm really experimenting with the Universe 6 Kale, the new blue one that you can evolve on top. Very annoying that it went up in price, but that is just how it goes. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. But this Hope Renew It, I think this is the one that you pitch a card, or on their turn you get to place this in the bottom and then untap one of the energies, that sort of thing. It's one of those. I would imagine that this didn't see too much play, but the Ultimate Spirit Bomb Goku is interesting with the KO can't counter, and then this guy just keeps attacking until you're dead. Either one. So either they're dead or you're dead. No counters, I don't think, in the main, with 2 in the side, well 4 in the side technically, and then 2 Crisis Crusher, 2 TN. Makes sense because of Borgos. Cesar. This guy is playing Toa. 2-Dimension Leaper in the main with 2 of these guys being blockers. It's so funny that this just draws you a card and it's a blocker. Like, what do you, what else do you need, right? It's just like she's looking at you. What else do you need from me? Nothing. 3/3 of the controllers. 2 of the Mass Saiyans in the main. Interesting. 2 more of the Dimension Leaper, probably because of Gogeta. If I had to be real with you. Gogeta, as well as any of the big boys. Kaioken this is pretty much the only answer to Kaioken right now. Like I really can't think of any other answer other than other revenge blockers, I guess. And then No Escape Goku, Power Burst, Tien. Whoa, he doesn't main Power Burst. I just noticed. That's crazy, cray. Okay, well, I guess he doesn't really need it, right? All this other stuff is controlling, and that's nice. 2 Force Ejection Mass Saiyan. A lot of people are very aware and very meta aware of the Shenron Gogeta possibilities. Pretty cool. Alright, this is Jonathan's Green Broly. So the 1 cold blood less. Everything else is pretty much normal. 4 Control Mechanism. Boy, you are wild. 3 Crusher Ball in the side. Ties that bond. Ba. Very interesting. I guess. I mean, this is an interesting list. 2 Godly Destruction Weeks, the first Borgos that I've seen, unless I missed it. Like I am looking at these decks, guys. I'm not like not going through them. I'm pretty sure like I am not missing anything when it comes down to the Borgos color or Whis color, whatever you want to say, because none of these really have it. I don't think so. That's very, very interesting. So I guess I'm playing Scuffle Time for the next event. 3 Planet makes sense to searchable, or for searchable anything 4 or less, because that's pretty much the most of the deck when it comes to Paragus, and as well as the other Paragus, your super combos. Yeah, there you go. And then Tien and Time Disruptor, probably really good in this deck because most of your guys are going to be more than 2 cost. It's going to be your leader and your big boys. Yeah, it draws you a card. You're going to have open energy most of the time anyway. Cool. Here's the 4th Toa Spencer. Okay, so this one plays out the new vanillas, a little more aggro, a little more early game aggro. The Skillless Toa. Eggman was talking about this deck. He was like, you should play Skillless Toa. And I was like, no, because I don't know how to play it. Which I don't think that's really the case, because it seems like a straightforward deck. It's just like Skillless, but now with Toa stuff. Makes sense, right? Plus I don't have time regulators. Okay, Eggman. Dark Power in the side. Time Disruptor in the side. Interesting that it's not in the main, but I guess it makes sense because of these guys. Not so interesting anymore. I feel like this should be played at 3. 2 Haruharu, 2 Messane, 3 Crisis Crusher, and as well as 2 Fu Banisher, the Dark Banisher. I keep saying Fu instead of Fu. Not much else to say about this deck, right? There's only, 1, 2, 3 targets? Or 4 targets? Yeah, that's not too bad. 4 targets. Yeah, 14. What is this? 3, 6, 9, 11, 12 as far as the top 5. So I don't know. I'm sorry, this was the 4th Toa. My bad. So this is Eric's, I do believe, and okay, interesting. The 1 Kai. I'm surprised that more people aren't doing this in mono black decks. I don't think, like in Toa, I feel like you can play other colors too. I mean, most of it, I think, like it says black cards, yes, on the Awakened side, but you can probably get away with 1 or 2 non-black cards as far as that goes. The 2 Crisis Crusher, which I'm surprised the ISRs aren't really making a big sort of feat here, but I guess it's just a supply. You know, a lot of people don't probably have them, or at least have playsets on them in time for Gencon. And then the 4-2 splits, a little more standard this time around. 3 of the Time Disruptor makes sense to me, and then 4 Power Bursts in order to get all of that goodness back, especially with the side over here with Kami, Dende, etc., and Toki Toki. So we have another Time Disruptor, Time Regulator, the 1-drop blocker, Dimension Leaper. So again, that Gogeta, and as well as the Kaioken. Those are the things you really have to look out for. Dark Disruption at 4, 3 Haru, and as well as 2 Tien. So nothing too crazy, but it's a solid deck either way. Now we are getting to the CABBAS. Michael Graves. I think this is the one in finals, right? Am I wrong? All right. Wait, no, non-finals, top 4. No, Rishi was in top 4. There you go. So if you didn't watch the video that I did with Joel already, please go take a look at that. That one's a little more aggro, like just attack as many times. This one's more control, as you can tell with the Pride of Universe 6 that evolves on top of this guy, and as well as the Meteoric Energy Kefla, which, you know, those are 2 different directions. But what I really do like is the Champion of the Trickster. If you haven't picked up this card, or at least have a playset of it by now, you probably should. I know it's an interesting card, but it is one of the cards that is going to be probably slept on for a little bit. But we'll see how that goes here. And then we have just the regular stuff, right? 3 of the Universe 6 Cabba, the SER 4 Planet Sadala. Now that is interesting. And of course 4 of the Gracious Aid. Okay, and then 2 Mifuma, 3 of the Cabba Master People Bond, which I don't know if it's worth, but I guess I have to see it in action. 1 of the Brimming Spirit, that's just the draw 1 card. 2 of the Crusher Ball, cool, and then Restrain, which is the from drop, switch 1 to rest mode with energy cost of 1, and then Time Magic, and then Temperament. The Temperament card is actually pretty cool. I just don't think it's worth playing for 4. Overall, cool deck. And Anthony Hernandez, I said that way too fast. This one is the Shenron Gogeta. The only thing about this deck is that I was very wary about the yellow count, and as well as the 1 of Kaioken. Does it really get to 7 energy that you can World Peace that bad boy out? I would say maybe, because he's playing 4 objection. You might as well, right? And then we have everything else standard, right? There's nothing new here. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just cool. And then we have 2 of the Piccolo, probably for the World Martial Arts matchup. I would say Scott Dashi was probably very surprised on that one, but who knows. And then 2 Energy Barrage Frieza for anybody wanting to play High to Mastery or anything good with Barrier. And then Striving to be the best, really good side card right now. And then 2 of the Fully Unleashed. I would imagine that you're Gogetaing and then Fully Unleashed after that. If I had to take a guess, you only need 5 in the drop, so that's good. And then we're gonna do, we have 2 Dende, probably for the Mirror, and as well as 1 No Escape and a Toki Toki. Moving on to Rishis. If you didn't see this one on Eggman's channel, I'm gonna say, I'm pretty sure that was on his. Go check that out. I'm not going to talk about it, but it is very 4 of heavy, with the 2 ofs of the ones that don't really matter to his life. And then we have Chamba the Trickster at 4 in the side, very cool, along with 3 Time Magic, 3 Time Lightning Nimbus, no negates, just like Joel's deck. And then Bonds, and then Annihilation to remove things back to their hand. And that is it, guys. I don't think I need to talk any more about it. Most of the stuff is very straightforward. What I'm really excited to see is the next event, which I don't know the next event. It might be in September. It might not be. Let me double check. Oh, looks like it is Philly Pro Play Tour. So we're gonna have that going on, and then in September we're gonna have Orlando, the regional there, and then right after that, San Diego. So very possible I'll be in Orlando. Very possible I'll be in San Diego. That's probably going to be a for sure thing. And then, of course, Philly is going to be interesting to see. So now that people have seen what topped and have seen what's more out there as far as options for win cons and deck archetypes, etc., it's going to be very cool to see the next event to see if those decks hold up. I'm thinking that CABBAS is still going to be pretty good. I don't know if there's going to be insurgence of red leaders, because that's probably going to be the biggest matchup for him. I'm very surprised that Red Gohan did not top or have any kind of showing for this. But I'm not surprised that the new Toa Revenge Blocker is still out here as far as that goes. Only a little surprised that Green Broly is still around, but hopefully, I mean, that deck is a little too linear if you stick to the Broly line, which you kind of have to make it successful. So makes sense. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. What you think the next meta is going to look like. Any decks that I covered and you already know the deck profile, definitely put it in the comments below. Like, dislike, and subscribe if you're new. I will see you in the next one. Later.